Let's talk about a controversial subject. We are living in an awesome time, right? We are living in a time when everything is starting to unravel a bit, and there's going to be a new order to that time as things unravel. I am a big student of history, and if you read about history, it ebbs and flows. Things kind of pop up and they flourish for a little while, and then that time comes to an end. It's not too long ago that kings and queens and empires were the norm. And now all of a sudden, the norm for the Western world is some sort of democracy or oligarchy or capitalist controlled democracy or whatever, something along those lines. And right now we're burning fumes on that. We are burning the last fumes of what I'd say the enlightenment is, and we're burning the last fumes of what Christendom has laid down of a foundation that kind of keeps the order of life. And we're trying to keep that order now in a secular manner. And secular, if there's no higher power, why keep that order? And then you guys are just kind of making it up as you go along. So we're living at a great time. The great part about this time for you guys is God wanted you to live at this time. And it's actually not that horrible if you think about it. Like everybody can sing the gloom and doom and like Rome is falling, like America's just like Rome, like the US is gonna fall, and you don't understand, like it's not like it falls, like everything just turns to junk one day. It's a gradual decline, and then a gradual kind of breaking up into maybe feudalism or some sort of feudal states or whatever it might be, whatever's going to happen next, or who knows, it could be right back to kings and queens because that's kind of the natural order of things, how things have always been. There's always been strong rulers. There's been anointed ones by God. So that why would you believe that that's not going to return? That's silly. Why would you not think that that's not going to return now? That's also silly. The point is that God put you here at this time, not any other time, not the 1950s, not 1492, not 1200. You're not a peer of St. Thomas Aquinas. God put you here right now. And God has a plan for you right now. And your plan is probably to govern yourself and get yourself into heaven and get others around you into heaven. That should be your primary goal in life. How am I going to accomplish this goal of getting myself into heaven? Turbulent times are never like apocalyptic, so to speak. They're never like everything just changes in a heartbeat. When you read history books of the plague, you think of like, oh, all Europe getting wiped out. You see these ginormous numbers, but what you don't see is the plague would pop up and go away, and pop back up again, go away. And it lasted for hundreds of years. Like those people died of the plague over hundreds of years. And I'm not saying that's not horrible, but it's not what you could wrap your head around. That these processes happen over long periods of time. And right now, our process is living through the last rearing its head, trying to control the order. We're living through the last bits of the Enlightenment, kind of starting to crumble and come apart. The calling of liberty, and you could even say like the goddess of liberty, the gods of democracy, starting to unravel, and a new order will come of that. And I would surmise there'll probably be a new Christendom that comes about because of that. It's not like the church is full of death and resurrection and death and resurrection and the Battle of Lepanto, right? the Moors ready to invade, they're coming. And pray rosary, a big storm happens. Natural disasters come and wipe out that army, and they all go back to the Middle East with their tails between their legs as they were just about to take France. Anyway, the point is that God has put you here for a reason during these times, and it's for you to shelter your family. Don't expect to do big things. Just do a lot of little things well, like Saint Therese, the little flower. I haven't read the autobiography. I just got it for one of my children, who is very partial to Saint Therese of the Sioux. But I've thumbed through it, and there's a lot of little ways. Like your duty now is to do a lot of little things to get your family through this, to get yourself through this, to kind of rebuild Christendom. To rebuild, right? We're in a rebuilding phase. Everything's crumbling down around us, and that's fine. But now it's going to be time to rebuild. And rebuilding doesn't happen with just one man or one generation. It's going to take a couple generations to accomplish that task. And it's going to be a lot of unknown people and unknown men and women and families and priests and nuns and religious and leaders that are going to take on that responsibility and do those baby steps, one after the other, to reestablish order in these Western lands. So that's what I have to say about that. And I read a ton of history, so I know everybody's time was the worst time. You read Saint Alphonse Liguori, and you're reading those sermons, and he's talking about the corruption and people aren't following the faith, and it sounds like our times. Sounds just like right now. You read about Pope Pius X, Saint Pope Pius X, and it's like those times sound like our times. Any of these saints or any of the history that you're reading, these times sound like our times. I'm reading Josephus. These times sound like our times. Everything, do you see? It's like all in an ebb and flow. You got to keep holding that mantle up and walking forward. So do your part.